Oh,
State
heck
loaded,
yeah.
crazy
Look
arms,
at the
things
Holy
like that.
guy.
cow,
Look at
half a
this
calf.
guy.
There I am.
How are you,
Mike
sir?
Rooney.
We have the
Yeah,
same
oh, better than the
glasses,
average bear. I'm
same
doing all right.
hairline. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh wait, I'm
Look at
only
us
half the
figuring out
frame, so
Instagram.
I gotta hold on. I gotta get myself better framed up here. There. How's that?
You're an artsy guy.
Looks like
You'll figure it out. Your graphic.
yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, if you could
That's
scoot
right.
back even a little bit, that might be golden.
Oh wait, I see. Yeah. Okay. All right. Think that might be it right there. Yeah.
Two legends. That's aggressive, but I like it, Dimitri. I like it. La Tech in 3. Stitch. So we have some important
Yeah.
stuff to cover tonight.
Yes, we do.
First question, did you look at the tweet that I put out there advertising our little IG live here?
Yeah, I think you said something about it's the most epic thing that's going to happen in the history of God, love, and vodka. So,
Yeah.
yes, I think I saw that.
Yes, someone else said that. I said that we would discuss hair product facetiously because we're not going to discuss hair product.
I think you meant hair products for our legs, right?
That's right. You still got to put still got to take care of the scalp. So you're not in the great state of California tonight. Stitch, you're not in California this evening, correct? You're not in California this evening.
As you can tell by my beer, I'm in the state of Louisiana today. Because I'm heading up to see the #1 team in the country play Louisiana Tech tomorrow up at the Love Shack in Ruston, Louisiana. So I'm
the renovated Love Shack, right?
Apparently it's all brand new. The whole damn thing got practically leveled, I guess, or close to it. And they've fixed it. They put like warp speed in fixing this thing back up and gussing it up for this season. So they played there, I think 2 weekends they've played there at home in Ruston. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this place. It's supposed to have all the whistles and bells and everything, kind of in a smaller scale, but still have all the whistles and bells of a nice park and all that. So yeah, it'll be fun to watch, and probably some pretty good baseball. We'll see if we get an upset or two out of Louisiana Tech or not against Arkansas.
Did you fly the Sorenson Learjet right into Ruston, or did you have more traverse travel than
mine
that?
was actually it had a flat tire, so I stole Easton's Learjet. They don't know it yet. They're gonna find out in the morning. But yeah, I got there, I got it, and I flew into. Actually, I'm staying in Baton Rouge tonight and driving up tomorrow. So it's hidden at a secret location here in Louisiana. I'm not going to say where exactly, but yeah, I did manage to get my own transportation out here. Yeah, these are times of COVID. You can't go sitting in a full plane. Come on.
No. Hey, did you spend part of your childhood in Louisiana, Stitch?
Yeah, I grew up in Omaha and all that kind of stuff, and then I moved down to Louisiana for high school and college. And you know, I think most of my brain cells were lost at that time, but I'm starting to put them all together again now. But yeah, no, I lived here for like 10 years or so, I guess it was. And man, hey, Runes, if I still lived in Louisiana now, if today was any indication, I would weigh 500 pounds because the Cajun food down here is so damn good. It's the
Boy,
best
they can
food
really
in the world.
eat.
I don't care what people say. What people say, whatever their culture is, they think they have the best food. They're lying. Cajun food is easily the best food in the world, I say.
What is the one? There's a restaurant in New Orleans. It's not like, or at least the one I've been to, it's not on Bourbon Street or anything like that. It's called Drago's. I want to say they have like char grilled oysters or something. I mean, they're unreal.
Oh,
and it's super. It's kind
stuff.
of. It's not like a dive place, but like you basically get a basket with like cellophane in it and like bread, and it's amazing. Drago's. I'm almost certain it's called Drago's. Anyway, you're right. Louisiana's not a good place for a 6-pack.
Yeah, I think that's right. And you got to bring your own running shoes and shorts with you to burn it all off afterwards.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, that's cool. I love that you're seeing Louisiana Tech and Arkansas. Arkansas is my national title pick. And I've told everyone I just did it to be contrarian. I really, like everyone picked Florida, and it was a good pick. But I'm kind of geeked up about my Arkansas pick now.
Yeah, well, I'll give you some credit on it because it's easy to go with the flow, just like a dead fish, man. It's easy to go with everybody and say Florida, but it's also easy to pick against Florida because nobody starts out number one and ends up number one, except Miami in 2001, I guess it was. So nobody does that. You might as well not pick Florida. Nothing against Coach O'Sullivan and the boys; they're going to be badass. But yeah, you might as well pick against them because the odds are against them too. So I salute your pick, Runes. I think it's a wise choice actually.
Yeah. So okay, before speaking of Twitter, before we jump into this thing, I also talked some pretty serious smack at our boy Fitzy, the great Aaron Fitz, because he went 1-4 in our picks last week, and you, me, and Kendall are in first place.
Yeah.
And I put a little Ricky Bobby up there for Fitzy to kind of chew on, and to the victor go the spoils, Stitch.
Yeah, leave it to the experts is what I always say, and you're the one. You're the expert. I'm just riding your coattails, dude. So, yeah,
that's right. That's right.
Before we go any further, first off, where are you at? Are you in Oklahoma yet or no?
No, tomorrow morning is my flight. I'm still in the great state of Arizona tonight.
Okay, and is the weather still looking kind of bad for you or no?
I'm actually in a hotel in Oklahoma, Stitch, and they just happen to have a big picture of my wife in the hotel. So
rock and roll.
I figured
so bad.
No, I'm just kidding. No, yeah, I fly out tomorrow. I got serious issues though. They got weather problems in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So honestly, best case scenario probably for me will be that they play a doubleheader on Saturday. Otherwise, I think I don't know what's going to happen, but they're supposed to be 6 o'clock and 6 o'clock Friday and Saturday night. It does not seem like that is going to go down that way. So we'll see.
Right. Well, the second thing I was going to mention, I'd be remiss if I didn't point out the fact that, yes, 2-2, if I didn't point out the fact that this is the first time since 2014 that the Baldcast has gotten back together. We got the band back together again with you and I. People kind of wanted that, and that's good. We like that, but I'm really honored that you had me on, and I think it's cool that we got to bring the baldest guys in the world back together.
That's right. Tonight. The Baldcast reunited. Get the band back together. That's right. A little redemption tour, if you will. Yes, that's awesome. All right, so Stitch, what we decided to do, since you have the most refined tastes amongst us college baseball pundits, you're the cultured one. The rest of us, let's be honest, my drink of choice is $2 Chuck, just a warm glass of red wine.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, come on. We're on a budget around here.
Now.
So
pull your socks up.
Pull your socks up. So we figured for this, we could have, you are going to pick your top 5 series that you would love to take the Learjet to this weekend. And you, like any connoisseur, would pick a great wine for a great dinner. You are going to give us the adult beverage that most suits that series.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to pick series.
Are we going to go back and forth with some of yours?
We're going to go back and forth. Yes, we are. And we're going to go back and forth. Okay. Yep. And then Stitch, what we're going to do at the end, because I've probably listed out like 15 series. At the end, what we may do is I might give you a multiple choice on a couple series to see what you would pick, and you'll have to pick a beverage on the fly.
Okay, that's good because the 5 that I chose, other than South Carolina, Texas, which will be my first, the others are a little bit off the radar because in my article, off the top of my head, I mentioned how there's a lot of good under the radar series with teams that are really getting off to good starts, and they're getting a good test this weekend. So that's kind of what I base mine on. Not necessarily the best series, but which I'm hoping you have more of the best series along, but mine are a little bit more under the radar.
Yeah, I'm going all over the place. And then, the ones I give you at the very end, Stitch, where you're going to have to pick A, B, or C, it would be like you and the missus are going to a dinner party that you forgot about, and you're whipping into Circle K right before you go to their house. Yes.
Yeah, I like
that.
I like that.
Oregon State in April. Let's go. Hey, can you see the comments, by the way, Stitch? Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it says Stitch is an idiot. We're from South Carolina. Why do you have us ranked so low?
Those are your self-affirmations. Those aren't comments. All right, you go first, Stitch. Give me your first series and the beverage of choice.
All right. Well, like I said, I was going to start with South Carolina and Texas. Great series. I wish more SEC Big 12 would get together. It's kind of like when LSU went there 2 years ago to play at Texas.
And got their hats handed to them.
Yeah, Texas beat all 3 games. 2 of them weren't even close. And if you remember, Texas ended up being in last place in the Big 12 that year, and LSU ended up being a national seed.
Yeah.
So a lot of these series can be, a lot of the fans can get unruly and start talking smack, but they really don't mean a ton if you think about it. They don't mean a lot until, later on in the season. But South Carolina and Texas, here's the interesting thing before I get to my drink of choice. If South Carolina wins the series or goes either 2 out of 3 or goes 3-zip, that's going to be probably a 6th team from the SEC that could end up in the top 8 that might not leave the top 8 of the rankings the rest of the year because everybody's going to beat up on each other. So how much can you drop a team that's going to lose to another, ranked team that high? So it's interesting to see if Texas wins or if South Carolina wins. We'll find out. But so that's why I think this series is so interesting because it could put the SEC even more so up above other people. But at the same time, here's my drink of choice. I got the Texas Ranch water from the restaurant called Ranch 616. And again, 2 years ago when I went to that Texas series with LSU, I went to this Ranch 616 restaurant, and they had this thing called Ranch water, the 616 Ranch water. And I said, I don't know what it is, but I got to have it. And apparently, if I'm reading right here, it's tequila, orange liqueur, lime juice, and Topo Chico. And it is to die for. It is really, really good. I'm not usually a tequila guy, but my God, this is good stuff. So if you guys are anywhere near Austin, go to Ranch 616 and order yourself a ranch water. And I hope they send me a check in the mail for just giving them such a glowing review of their beverage and restaurant.
So just so I'm clear, what's up, Ben? Just so I'm clear, Texas Ranch water is not something I can roll into Circle K or my liquor store and purchase. This is at this restaurant, and this is a drink named Texas Ranch water.
Yeah. Yeah, make sure you go to the restaurant and order it. It's not anything you can take a bath in later when you're too drunk, but it is really, really good. I think you'll dig it. It's a great place too. The restaurant is full of kind of kitschy stuff all over the walls and stuff. It's really cool. I like it a lot. I think one of Stevie Ray Vaughan's guitars is there. It's up on the wall too. It's really awesome. And I don't use the word awesome very much.
Hey, so Stitch, can I give you some? Can I give you some homework for as part of this series? Can you? I gave this homework to Kendall too, but I'm going to give it to you. I want you to take our guy Wes Clark, who's raking. He's hitting home runs like it's his job. I would like a comp for him that's not a baseball player. I would like you to find a professional wrestler who reminds you of Wes Clark, because that's what he looks like to me. This dude is yoked up. I mean, massive dude.
Yeah, just off the top of my head, I'm kind of thinking maybe.
Please say Bob Backlund.
Oh, that's really old school.
Seriously,
I like that.
Showing my age.
I was going to say Jake the Snake Roberts, maybe.
Oh, thank you. I don't think he has as much swag as Jake the Snake Roberts, but
yeah, I'll have to do some homework on that. That's a great thing to look for, though. Good.
Hey,
good
he is cooled off though. Wes Clark is stuck at 8 home runs, so we need to get him revved up again. I need him going 20+ home runs this year.
Yeah, I do too. Or even into the 30s, like Chris Bryant at USD a couple years back. But you also have to remember, it's either home run or he gets a walk. I don't think it seems like he hasn't gotten out yet this year. So
yeah, I'm down for that.
About this guy.
Yes, I like it. Stitch, all right, let's go. I'm going Gonzaga at TCU. I saw the Zags. I wrote up the Zags for our fall report. This is no disrespect to the WCC. Gonzaga, over the last 11 years, they have finished first or second in the WCC 8 of the last 11 years. They are the northernmost program. They are in Spokane, Washington. That coaching staff, Mark Machtov, Danny Evans, Brandon Harmon, these guys do an unreal job. They play the most hellacious schedule in the early part of the year, almost as if you made it for them, Stitch, because I know how you like to see teams go get their ears kicked in. And these dudes are good. I'm telling you, Gonzaga is physical. They've got a really good approach. I think TCU is also an Omaha caliber team. I love the Zags. Here's a name to remember for the Zags. Gabe Hughes is like a 6'4" right-hander. Could be a big pick. He's only a second-year player. Could be a big pick next year. But Give me the Zags and TCU. Now, Stitch, have you been to a game in Fort Worth?
Yeah, plenty of times. Got a number of times there. Yeah, I love Lupton Stadium.
Yeah, but that's kind of like the tailgating outside of that stadium is a little wine and cheese-ish. I mean, it's upscale, like, country club. Like these are people that have their act together that are tailgating outside the TCU baseball. So it's bring a resume is what I would say. Yeah, bring a resume and some Texas Ranch water.
And drink with your pinky out too.
But yes.
No, that's no disrespect to TCU. It's a great environment. And the other thing that's great about that, Roon, you'll like this, is you can see Jim Schlossnagle's house from the stadium. You can actually look out and see where he lives. I'm not going to tell you which house it is, so people don't go there and egg it or something if it's for fans of an opposing team. But yeah, he lives that close to his own stadium. I think that's another kind of cool facet about that.
Yes. By the way, Fort Worth, extremely underrated town. Extremely underrated town.
I think so too. Yeah. No, I lived in Dallas for a couple of years, and a lot of my friends called it Fort Worthless. And I disagree with that. I think it's actually a pretty cool town. And by the way, I really like your expose on Gonzaga. Yeah, it seems like they play murderous schedule every year, probably overscheduled a little too much. But they've done well, and it's going to be interesting to see how they finish up in the WCC this year. They might be the favorites, even though I had San Diego kind of my team to watch this year. But I think you bring up really good points.
We'll move on to your next series, Stitch, after this. But if I'm not mistaken, this current road trip Gonzaga's on, they played at Texas Tech. Oh, I'm sorry, front end of the trip at Dallas Baptist. Then they rolled over to Texas Tech. Now they're going to TCU. Mouthpieces in. Like that is Coach Mactoff. We're going to take your keyboard next year when you're scheduling. Like, come on now. But God bless them. It's the best. It's the best.
Oh yeah, it's true. I mean, we're waving a white flag for them because you've proven it to us, guys, and they did well. They split with Dallas Baptist, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 2-2.
It's a good series. Yeah, they're good.
Dallas Baptist last week, and the DBU's for real. So, you're right about Gonzaga. So. Yeah. Can we move on?
DBU's catcher, Ryan Robleski, his dad and I were teammates in college. His dad, Corey Robleski, legend. His dad played for the LaPorte Slicers, Doug Schreiber's dad. Anyway, it's awesome. So Ryan Robleski, we got you. Stitch, go. Really series cool. Number 2.
All right, number 2 is the one I'm going to. I'm going to go to at least the first 2 games. That is Arkansas and Louisiana Tech. We talked enough about it. Arkansas has possibly the best up-the-middle defense of anybody in the country. Opitz at catcher and Franklin out in center field. Rob Moore at second. I keep looking at what I'm reading about Louisiana Tech, though. They've got some studs. I mean, and their offense is like really, really nails. I mean, they could be the best team in this Conference USA. And Arkansas had a little trouble here and there with Murray State last week. Let's see what happens in that one this week, playing on the road, another SEC team going on the road, which is always interesting to see what happens because they play so many home games most of the time. So I love it when they go on the road, and I like Dave Van Horn for doing this trip, especially to a mid-major. This is not what you normally see, and I dig that. My drink of choice is Louisiana Tech, probably the most famous person from Louisiana Tech, not named Karl Malone, Terry Bradshaw. And Terry Bradshaw's favorite drink is Bradshaw bourbon whiskey. He makes his own whiskey.
No way.
In Kentucky. Yeah, no, actually, I wrote it down on my computer here. Go to bradshawbourbon.com, and you'll see him walking around the plant. Might have been the first time he'd ever been to that plant, sure, but he's got his own bourbon, and so he's a distiller. So that's my drink of choice for the Arkansas-Louisiana Tech game.
That is awesome. So let me give you 2 comments on this, Stitch. So keep an eye on Parker Bates. He's a 5th-year player. Parker Bates, not that I'm a big WAR guy, but if you like advanced stats, Parker Bates led college baseball in WAR, capital W, capital A, capital R, last year. He hit .422, 8 home runs, 11 walks, only 9 strikeouts. Anyway, the dude crushed. They're good, and I think this is super cool about Coach Van Horn, who is one of my all-time favorites, where, Arkansas, to your point, Stitch, they don't have to go play road games. But with everything Louisiana Tech's been through, and what a great thing for them to be able to kind of rechristen the Love Shack with the number 1 team in the country. Yeah. It's such a cool environment with I think there are dorms in the background. Anyway, good on you for showing up. I mean, Louisiana Tech gets Arkansas to come in and Stitchhead I mean, come on. Now it's a party. Now it's a party.
Yeah, and they play Ole Miss on Tuesday and Wednesday. So the other thing we might mention about Tech, just looking at them, very senior heavy too. So that's another thing that a mid-major, you got to love a mid-major that has a lot of guys that have been around a long time.
That's right. I love some old guys on old teams. Give me that. Stitch, give me. I'm gonna give you the series I'm going to. Give me Vandy at Oklahoma State. You know, I'll get to see O'Brate Stadium. I know you got to see a little bit of it. You saw it last year, right?
Yeah, I had scheduled to see their opening night against TCU, and then the season got shut down, and I ended up just going anyway and got a tour of the place, and it's primo, man. It's really primo. You're gonna dig this place.
Yeah, and it's, you know, like just the pitching match. Yeah, first of all, I think the thing about O'Brate that blows me away is think about this. It's a $65 million stadium, give or take, you know, $1 million.
Right.
And it seats 6,000 people. Like, it's amazing for, like, when you think about the size, what they've done. And this is what it should be, because Oklahoma State is one of the historic brands in our sport. You know, it's the Pete Incavillas, the Robin Venturas, on and on. I mean, what they did under Coach Ward in the 80s. So anyway, but Oklahoma State's got a real team this year. Like, they are really good. They've got a ton of power arms. You know, and Parker Scott's their Friday night guy. He's going to pitch against Kumar Rocker. Parker Scott is just an old guy that knows how to pitch. And then you've got Justin Robleski, who's the junior college transfer, who's blowing cheese. He's going to face Jack Leiter, it looks like. Bryce Osmond is the second-year player who he is also throwing smoke. I think he will face off against Thomas Schultz. So anyway, we need Mother Nature to cooperate. It's going to be an incredible series in what is one of the epic ballparks. So I don't know. I don't have a drink of choice. Yeah. Whatever red wine they're serving in convenience stores in Stillwater.
Well, you have to remember one of the most popular T-shirts in the world is Eskimo Joe's, which is the famous bar that's there in Stillwater. It's one of the best-selling T-shirts in the world. For whatever reason, I know that for a fact. And I've been there before. Great place, lots of beer choices, so it's a good joint. And the other thing you might have forgot to mention is this is going to be kind of the tutor versus the pupil because Josh Holliday was
Corb's assistant. That's right.
Assistant under. I'm trying to get my words out. Tim Corbin's assistant for a number of years. So yeah, that's going to be kind of an interesting facet to this one also. You'll have fun up there.
No question. Yeah, that's Stitch. Before I get your third series, do you know that there was one time in Columbia, South Carolina, I was there for a series, and I bought red wine in a gas station, #pattern, life pattern, and it was Ray Tanner red wine. They had done commemorative South Carolina National Championship baseball wine, and it was being sold in gas stations. So gotta love it. You go South Carolina.
Infused with some of the team sweat is what I heard too. So there you go.
It did taste like that a little bit, but I was all in. You had me at Ray Tanner on the wine bottle label.
Yeah,
so yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right, give me your third series there, Stitch.
Third one. This is another team that's kind of come out of the woodwork. UNC Greensboro. They're 10-2, and I think 10-2, and they go to Tennessee, which an SEC team, and this is another mid-major, kind of doing a step-up type of thing. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing how each team does. If Tennessee is going to be a little too big for its britches or not, or if UNC Greensboro has bitten off more than it can chew. My drink of choice, since we're in Tennessee and right near Pigeon Forge, I think you see where I'm going with this. Dolly Parton's. There's a drink called the Dolly, and here's what it's got in it. It's got Grey Goose vodka. This is like a real mishmash. Grey Goose vodka, Southern Comfort, butterscotch schnapps, lemon juice, and cranberry juice. And I'm 98% sure Dolly Parton would never touch this stuff. But that's the Dolly for you.
Oh gosh, who doesn't love Dolly Parton? Come on now, that's outstanding.
I hate country music, but I love her. You just gotta like her. She's just a great human. She's a mensch. She really is. She's a
mensch. She is a mensch. That is a good, sneaky good series. I didn't realize UNCG was off to such a good start, but I will tell you that when Notre Dame hired Link Jarrett, I was thinking, man, really? Like, he's just been recruiting a bunch of North Carolina. Like, I know that he did an awesome job at UCNG, but I know that his resume is more than just that, but I was thinking, man, he's just like recruiting a bunch of North Carolina kids. Man, Link Jarrett has crushed at Notre Dame. Like, he has got those guys playing their tails off. I mean, so impressive. And so, and Tennessee, like, I dig Tennessee. Tony Vitello, there's an edge. You know, Frank Anderson, like, they are not joking around. Ross Kivitz, their volunteer, who was, you know, one of my favorite all-time players when he was at Kansas State. That's a good get by you, Stitch. Well done.
Yeah. Didn't Kivitz play? Was he part of that super regional team that played Oregon State and nearly beat them? Yeah.
He was the heartbeat of that team. You're right. Like, he was. They went up to Oregon State and gave them the Conforto team. Gave them everything they wanted and more. Yeah, so that's a great poll.
Now, I'll say this. I have to admit, I don't know much about Tennessee this year. I'm a little skeptical about them being in the rankings. But don't be hacked at me, Tennessee fans. That just means you have a good chance to prove it this weekend and make me eat crow. So I'll do that certainly if they take this series. Sneaky good series here. So what's your third?
Tennessee, very good. They're recruiting at a high level, just like you'd think with Tony Vitello there. If you remember the lefty that Arizona State had on the Mike Leake teams, Josh Spence. I don't know if you remember the Australian lefty, Josh Spence, that was kind of the cohort for Mike Leake. His little brother, Liam, obviously another Australian, played at Central Arizona JUCO out here. Liam is the shortstop for Tennessee. They have a really good team. Feisty, talented, really deep pitching staff. You're going to like them. And that's a great series.
Do you remember Josh Spence when he was in JC ball? Didn't he strike out like 200 guys in one season or something like that?
Yeah. Stitch, I coached against him in JC ball, and I think it was my team where he struck out 2,000 guys. It was, and the other thing about Josh Spence was he had this ridiculous move to first base. So if even the one time we did have a guy, pull the fire alarm and sneak over to first base, he picked him off. So, yes, he was ridiculous. I'm telling you, that 2009 Arizona State team who had Jason Kipnis, Cole Calhoun, Mike Leake. Mike Leake was 16-0 going to Omaha. I'm telling you, Josh Spence missed part of the year because of injury. Josh Spence outpitched Mike Leake for a good part of that year. He was fantastic. So anyway.
Yeah, I forgot about that. All right.
Stitch, let's go. I'm going West Coast, man. West Coast, best coast. How about the Oregon Ducks going to Oregon State? That series, Oregon is flying high. I'll tell you, Oregon, Aaron Zavala, Gabe Matthews, Kenyon Yovan is playing a video game right now. Oregon State, Kevin Abel's back. Jake Mulholland's back. They're pitching at a high level. And I'm telling you, they have a bunch of old dudes for position players that just play super clean. You know who Oregon State is, Stitch? They are Val Kilmer, Iceman in Top Gun, where they just play super clean and let you go crash your plane. And as soon as you crash it, they'll pick it up and they're outie. I've watched them play such clean baseball when they were down here in Arizona. And I think, Oregon under Mark Wasikowski, he was, when I was at Arizona State, he was at Arizona, and we were supposed to be the big brother. And Waz does not play that way. He is going to not just take second fiddle to Oregon State. He will have Oregon State, I promise you, or Oregon. This rivalry with Oregon State is going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? It'll be elevated. It'll be heated. It'll be good.
Reignited.
Yeah. That's it. Yes, that's right. So my drink of choice, Oregon State, would be some IPA or some fancy pants beer, because that's how they roll up in Oregon, I guess.
I think they have, if I'm not mistaken, I think they have something called Sasquatch Brewery up there. I'm thinking it's in Oregon. So, and it would stand to reason since Bigfoot does get seen in Oregon probably more than any other state per capita. So I think I think that's a good choice. And how shocking was it for Oregon to sweep 4 from UC Santa Barbara?
Ooh.
I mean,
now, you know what's
I was stunned by that because
stunned. Yes. Stitch, I really looked into that because I'm a UCSB apologist. I'm a Gaucho apologist, so I really dove into that. And I think it was 2 things. Oregon, like that middle of the order, Zavala, Matthews, and Kenyon Yovan is really good. Oregon is, they're not where they're going to be under Mark Wasikowski, but they are going to be a handful this year. I think it's maybe the best middle of the order in the pack. But I will tell you this about UCSB. Their starting pitching was still pretty solid. Zach Torre has got to get going. But they had 2 bullpen implosions. I mean, just total implosions. They had they gave up an 8 spot in the second inning of Rodney Boone's start, where they had 7 unearned runs, 8 runs, 7 of them unearned. And then in the 9-4 game, lots of vineyards up there. I'm down for the wine too. In the 4th game they lost, it was 4-4 in the 10th, and they gave up a 5 spot. So it looks like a 9-4 loss. It's really an extra inning game. But anyway, hey, those are all excuses. Oregon went down to Santa Barbara and ate their lunch 4 times. So good on you, Oregon, and UCSB's got to get going this weekend.
Yeah, kind of like with Tennessee, Oregon's kind of a little bit off my radar as well. All apologies to Coach Wazakowski, who was on that Pepperdine National Championship team in '92. I didn't have Oregon on my radar, and boy, they are now. I'm not doubting them now after that series. So this Civil War series, which I don't think they want to call it Civil War anymore, but this should be really a lot of fun. In fact, that was one of the places I thought about maybe going this weekend. But I kind of figured I'll see both of those teams eventually down in SoCal. But man, that's going to be a fun series, especially with Oregon coming back as they are.
Yeah, and this is, as my understanding is, this is non-conference, so they're going to play again.
Yeah.
That's right. Stitch, give me your. Are we on your 4th series?
Yeah, fourth one. We'll kind of do this a little bit. We'll amp it up a little bit. Off the radar, Mountain West, UNLV, who's I think they're 6 against San Diego State. I had in my personal top 25 that I did for Athlon's magazine in the preseason. I'm probably drinking a little bit of Kool-Aid with San Diego State, but I think they're really good. This is going to be kind of a preview of possibly the 2 best teams in the Mountain West, which I like to say, and not everybody will agree, but I like to say the underrated Mountain West Conference. So,
yes, it is underrated.
This is the best drink I have to go along with a series. So there's a brewery down there called 3 Punk Ales. 3 Punk Ales. It was apparently started by a trio or 3 or 4 guys in an old punk band that never made it. Of course, which punk bands do except for Green Day. And so they started their own brewery. And here's some of the titles of their beers: Dead Ramones, This Charming Stout, which is off of the old Smith song, This Charming Man, Kill the Poor, and it's spelled P-O-U-R, and Emo Brown, the Saddest Mexican. You got me right there. I've never had one of these 3 Punk Ales, but I'm drinking the Kool-Aid Ales now.
So the name of the actual brewery is 3 Punk Ales.
3 Punk Ales, yes. And you have me there for sure. I'm in.
Oh gosh, that is fantastic. That is a great Stitch. You have provided there. Well done by you.
Yeah, man.
All right. So So give me. I got a series of a couple Omaha sleepers here.
Sure.
How about Indiana State at FAU? So Indiana State is 8-4, and it's not like they've been. They were in the Nashville Regional in 2019. They've been good under Mitch Hannes. They were good when Rick Heller was there. They were good when Lindsey Meggs was there. This is almost the cradle of coaches. They lost a series to Pittsburgh. No harm in that. Pittsburgh, went and swept Florida State. They actually split with Tennessee. Went 2-2 and keep in mind, this is all on the road for Indiana State. Like, there are no games played in Terre Haute yet.
No.
Then they went and just thrashed Florida International. And then they took a game from Florida Gulf Coast, and they actually beat Florida Atlantic tonight. So I guess this is a Thursday through Saturday series. But Florida Atlantic's really plucky, too. I mean, Florida Atlantic hammered UCF. They got a win over Florida, the Gators. So this is one that I think is really interesting. These 2 teams, I think, are postseason teams, and they will also be very difficult draws wherever they end up in the postseason.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Missouri Valley Conference, and I've been impressed with what I've seen. Like, Xavier went down to Texas A&M and won that series, and they were my underdogs of the week after that. And Indiana State's done really well. Dallas Baptist, of course, I saw them last week at the Frisco Classic, and they were just beating the brains out of the ball. Except, they didn't beat Arizona, but Missouri and Oklahoma, they took care of them. The MVC, man, even without my beloved Creighton Blue Jays, is really looking good. And I'm glad you chose this series, because this is another one that I kind of had in my write-up for off the top of my head to watch out for. The other thing I kind of think about, I was going to say that, with all the road games, I always hear about coaches saying, man, by the end of that road trip, we were worn out. We're just out of gas. But here they are winning out. They last I knew, they were up in the 9th inning, so I guess they did close out that win against FAU to win the first game. So, man, this is good on you, Indiana State, the Sycamores. Larry Bird has got to be a
that's right. Stitch, these teams, they just don't have your stamina, because you are like a living road trip, and I never see you run out of gas. There's no pitch counts for Stitch Head. You just keep pumping strikes. Let's go.
I don't know. I still feel like I'm more like a vulture, an old vulture that can barely get in the air anymore. But thank you for the
An old vulture. That's a great visual. Stitch, give me your 5th series. What do you got for us?
Okay, last one for me, number 5. And another one that off the radar, and I know you and I love these guys. USC Upstate, South Carolina Upstate, at the Roll Humps themselves, Campbell. They're playing at Campbell, and
this is good.
Yeah, South Carolina Upstate. In fact, actually, I wrote it down over here on the side of my. They're 10-0. Last I think that's right going into this weekend, and they've only issued 26 walks in 10 games. They just kind of one of those teams that don't really beat themselves. And what was it? They also they have a series win, or actually Campbell has a series win over Liberty, so they're quality too. I think they're 7-4 on the year. I think these two teams a little underrated and very off the beaten path, obviously. But it's the team that we need to keep. Both teams need to keep an eye on. Let's see how undefeated USC Upstate does against our beloved Camels. So that's
yes.
And my drink of choice, I found this drink for the Camels. The only drink I could find that the Camel in it was something called the Copper Camel, and it sounds awful. 1 ounce Bailey's Irish Cream and ½ ounce butterscotch schnapps. This is the second time I've brought up butterscotch schnapps in this trip. It's a dessert drink, and I'm sure it's awful, but there you go. That is the Copper Camel.
The Copper Camel, I like it. Yeah, so UCS Upstate, Stitch. If I'm not mistaken, they are the Spartans. And if I mess that up, I apologize, because that needs to be.
No,
so anyway, Mike McGuire's their new coach, and he was at Morehead State before, did a really nice job there. And these guys, they were really good in the shortened season last year. I think this is a great calling. Campbell under Justin Hare, they've really become the class of the Big South. They're always, and again, that I think the 2019 Greenville Regional that ECU ended up winning, but it was so hectic for them to win it between Quinnipiac going out down there. By the way, the D1Baseball, one of the great hashtags we have in the sport. Campbell was ferocious in that one. So anyway, I think that's a great pull. I will not be drinking from the Copper Campbell, but I appreciate you bringing that forward. All right, I got to pick one. I got to pick
Coach
one.
Hare some props, though. Coach
He's
Hare
the best.
is kind of our antithesis since we have none, so we're jealous of Justin Hare.
We are jealous of him. Stitch, I am going to go – I want to save some good ones that I can poll you on.
Bring it.
Okay, so I'm gonna pick one of my 2 West Coast series. Give me UCI at Stanford. Stanford has these 2 really young. Their first year class and their second year class is really good. Stanford's off. They were off to a terrible start last year, 5-11. Much better start this year. And they didn't even have fall ball. So, I think the talent is starting to come out. Brock Jones is not playing football anymore, off to a dynamite start. Tommy Troy, a true freshman. Brandon Beck, we know, is a legit Friday night guy. And UCI lost 2 games to UC Riverside. That was bitterly disappointing for UCI. But, Benny Orloff, we know, can coach. They've got talent. I think that's a really fascinating series. It's a really important one for UCI. It's a really important one for the Big West. The Big West is not off to a good start, and the Pac-12 is off to a good start.
Yeah, and it's kind of a drag because last year before the season got stopped, the Big West was looking great. UC Santa Barbara swept Oregon State up in Corvallis. Long Beach State. Beating Mississippi State 2 out of 3 and sweeping Wake Forest. I could go on, but there's a bunch. I did my preview on the Big West this year, and there was so much to point to last year, and then it got stopped. And this year you have teams like Long Beach and CSUN that they're going to get starting up next week, but they didn't even hold a fall practice either. And that's why I think it's kind of interesting that Stanford has gotten off to a good start. Now they've played, and they've played Santa Clara and San Francisco, which might not sound like a lot, but I saw both of those teams beat UC Santa Barbara and UCLA in the first weekend. I think those teams are pretty good. They don't have the greatest records right now, but I think this is a good indication of Dave Esker. From not having a fall practice and starting out 7-1 against those 2 teams, and now they're going to face a really good, I think a pretty good Anteater team too. So it's kind of good though, and I see if you agree with me on this, that if Stanford and Oregon State and even Cal, if they kind of get back, because remember, they were all just really kind of crappy last year. If they get rolling, they're kind of blue bloods, especially Stanford and Oregon State. They're blue bloods of the sport. The Pac-12 needs those teams to be good again.
No question. And I think USC is going to keep improving under Jason Gill. Arizona's got a better team than we thought. Arizona State is just super snake bit with injury, but I really they will not, if they're down, they will not be down for long. So I think Arizona State's going to be fine. I wish they were healthier. Yeah, you're right. I think I wrote this, that when I did the Pac-12, preview, I can make an argument that every program in the league is trending up. Now, again, some people are going to have to take losses, and that's just the way it's going to be. But hey, let me pick. Let's do two more, Stitch, and then you're going to have to pick some drinks off the top of your head. Okay. So I'm giving you a pass. I'm giving you the keys to the Easton Lear Jet, and you pick one of these three series.
Sure.
Wichita State at Arizona.
Great.
Charlotte at East Carolina. Stetson at Alabama. So Wichita State at Arizona, Charlotte at East Carolina, Stetson at Alabama.
Well, I saw Arizona last week. They beat the cover off of a number of baseballs. Their offense just looks really good. And as I like to point out, you were very wrong in your analysis that their defense scares you, that you're worried about the defense because they only committed 2 errors all weekend. 2 errors for Arizona.
I know. By the way, they've kicked it around a little bit tonight, is what I'm told. But hey, it's all good.
Okay, all right.
They made me look like an arse, is what they did. You're looking at their defense like, did Rooney say bad defense or perfect defense? I can't remember.
I must have heard wrong in my old age.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, give me Stetson and Alabama, because I love Steve Trimper, the head coach of Stetson. He came down from Maine. He was at Maine for a number of years, loved living there, said he was never going to leave. And then he gets the job at Stetson, and all he does is lead them to was it a super regional or just hosting a regional, at least? I know that.
Yeah, and super regional. Yeah, they remember they're the first team in the ASUN history to host, and then pretty much dominated that regional, and then they had a really good super with North Carolina on the road.
North Carolina, that's right. And Alabama, I'm interested to see. Now, remember last year, I think they were off to like a 14-2 start a year ago, and I'm looking to see if they're going to stay legit. This is one of those series where they're playing a mid-majors team, and we got to find out if they're for real. And so this is a great weekend to find that out. So yeah, give me Stetson against Alabama, and since we're in Alabama, I guess I'll just go with Pabst Blue Ribbon or Ham's beer. How about that?
That's what they drink in Alabama. That's how the natives roll down there.
Well, I'm sure there's actually probably what do you call it? Paul Bear Bryant. Like maybe they have some kind of beer brewery or something, or like the hat that he always wore too, the houndstooth hat. Maybe they have houndstooth brewery, but I'm not aware of it. As you said, this is kind of PBR. And I just stole the Easton Learjet, so. But yeah, that's going to be a great series, though.
Isn't that funny that PBR is really just a crap beer that became a yuppie beer? I mean, come on, like that's just, it's bad. It's like when we were kids and our pants were floods because our moms didn't feel like paying money for real pants, and we made fun. People made fun of us, and then 25 years later, people are doing that on purpose. I mean, come on, that's what PBR is.
Yeah, it's crap. It really is crap. There's not a beer out there that's had more of an arc, good to bad, good to bad, good to bad, than in the last 50 years than PBR has.
Yeah,
it's a hipster's beer, and so
hipster beer. Yeah, that's a marketing that somebody should write a book about that, the marketing of that beer, because how you take what was properly labeled a crap beer and turn it into a hipster beer, like that's the marketing genius of our lifetime. I'm with you. Hey, by the way, Arizona's going to win again tonight. Holy cow, they're up 8-4 on the Shocks. All right, Stitch, you ready for your second? You're going to have to pick 2 more drinks tonight, but let me give you pick one of these 3 series. See, that's on my boy Caleb's on it. It is absolutely horrible. That's a correct evaluation. All right, Stitch, you can either go see UConn at Texas Tech, or Nebraska versus Ohio State. They're playing somewhere in the South. I just don't know where. I'll have to look it up. So UConn, Texas Tech, Nebraska, Ohio State, or UCLA at Cal Poly.
Well, if
UConn
I'm going
at Texas Tech, Nebraska, Ohio State, UCLA, Cal Poly.
Yeah, if I'm going purely for the drinking that accompanies the series, I'm certainly going up to the Central Coast and getting some great wine from up in the San Luis Obispo area. Some of the best wines in the world, and I'm not really a huge wine connoisseur, but they've got it going on. And the movie Sideways was based on going up to Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo area, so I'd do that. Ohio State, Nebraska is part of that hoedown up in the Viking Stadium up in Minnesota.
Ooh,
actually,
you've been there, right? Haven't you been to something like that?
Yeah, I've been there three times, and I was gonna go again this year, but the people that I stay with got COVID. I don't mean to laugh, but they got COVID, so I can't go now. So that's why I'm going to Louisiana Tech. But I wanted to go. There's gonna be 5 games on Saturday alone, starting at 9 a.m. I'm trying to look to see which one. Oh, Iowa, Nebraska is the first game, actually. Runes, I love that venue and the teams they get so much, and I love going from 20-degree temperatures outside to 68 degrees inside, and the beers up there are so good. I would have to go with your Nebraska and Ohio State because they're playing in Minneapolis. I'm trying to think. Oh wait, crap! I'm trying to think of the name of the beer that I drink up there, and it's escaping me now.
Please tell me it's got the word Viking in it. No,
it's grain belt beer.
Grain Belt.
And it tastes like the Grain Belt, but it's a great name, and it's fitting, and it's kind of like their PBR. It's kind of their fall staff. It's a good crappy beer. I love that. So yeah, that's gonna be what I choose.
All right, Stitch. So that is an excellent choice. So here's what we're gonna end on. So when we all convene in Omaha at the Hilton Bar, all of us, you, me, all the peeps, KP, Kendall, Fitzy, you name it. Mrs. Stitch hopefully will be there. Shoddy will be there. What are you drinking at the Hilton Bar? What is the appropriate drink for the Stitch head in the city of Omaha, Nebraska?
Well, here's the thing. Well, the appropriate drink is what I used to drink, what we got people to buy us outside the 7-Eleven when we were in junior high, and that was Falstaff. Which is the worst beer ever, and it was brewed here in Omaha. Falstaff was great.
Oh gosh, that sounds tragic.
Yeah, but since we're at the Hilton and it's kind of a hoity-toity place, and I'm trying to impress Lady Stitchhead, I'm gonna go for an old fashioned.
White wine
It's always
spritzer.
been my favorite whiskey-based drink. It's old school. It's like drinking something on the set of Mad Men, and I love old fashions. And so, in fact, if I see you there and you actually acknowledge me, I'll even buy you an old fashioned this year if you don't mind.
Do you make your own old fashions in Smogland on occasion?
No, not really, because I'm not that good at making them. I can try, but I don't make them well enough. So now that's one of those I leave to the experts.
I'm not like a fancy pants drinker, but I've had an old fashioned in the past, and what is the old fashioned? There's bourbon in there, right?
Yeah, it's bourbon, and you got bitters, which kind of gives it a little bit of a spice to it. And it has a slice of orange and a cherry sometimes. It's kind of whatever the maker actually likes to put in it. And there's something else I'm missing. Anyway, it's just, again, classy drink. It takes a little while to make sometimes, but it's heaven to me. I like that drop.
You know what I'm drinking in Omaha, Stitch, is probably Coors Light in honor of the great Kyle Peterson, who, he is the mayor of Omaha. I'm going to give you my career drinking arc, Stitch. So as a kid, college, just whatever beer you could afford, Busch Light.
Sure.
Then it was Natural Light in college, which is another travesty of a beer. And then I'm more of an adult with a job. And so we next thing you know, we're drinking bourbon and Coke in bars. That didn't lead to quality decisions. And then you get married, and now I'm drinking the cheapest wine that the grocery store sells. So there you go. That's my career arc. I'm a utility drinker.
The $2 Chuck, isn't that what you said earlier?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Now Sprouts has a version of that. That's Trader Joe's is the $2 Chuck. And again, it's like $2.99 a bottle. I love where their head's at there. I mean, technically that is $2, but
yeah,
yes,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hey, and didn't we back in May? Didn't we change Papa Bear's name to Pyle Keterson at some point?
Oh my gosh, we need to. We absolutely need to.
Wasn't it Matt Schick that changed it, or you did? I can't remember.
Yeah. Matt Schick did that. You're right. We need a Twitter handle named Pyle Keterson that covers college baseball also. So I love it. That's great.
Oh yeah.
Stitch, great effort out of you tonight. Well done. You did a great job on our IG Live on Selection Monday when we staged a Selection Monday.
Oh yeah,
that was another great effort here. Hey, have a great time in Ruston. Take good picks.
Yeah, man, and I hope your games get in because it's going to be a great series if it does get in. And yeah, I appreciate you sharing the airwaves here with me. This is really cool. This has been the best Baldcast of any this whole year. And yes, you can have other people on, but it's not going to be as good. You know that.
No, that's right. Yeah, we've peaked. We peaked in week 3. What are we going to do now?
Yeah, well, cancel it.
Cancel everything. Stitch, have a great weekend, man. Great seeing you.
Yeah, thanks again. See you, Mike.
See you, man.
Damn.